Well, I'm in Glenfinnan in a rainstorm at a viaduct that Glenfinnan's famous for, because it features in sequences in a certain series of movies about a young wizard. But that's not why I'm here. This is just the start of my journey, and I'll explain a little more when the rain stops. Glorious, glorious, glorious. Still on a tarmac road, which I'm looking forward to getting to the end of, because I'm walking into Knoydart, which is said to be the UK's last wilderness. And the village in Knoydart that I'm heading for, Invery, is only accessible by boat or on foot. So, got a bit of adventure ahead, and this is a bit of a bucket list thing for me. About 15 years ago, just before my eldest was born, and afterwards, we spent a lot of time in the Scottish Highlands, and then sort of second one was born. Suddenly the logistics of moving lots of small children around became more difficult, and we stopped coming all the way up here, because it's a right old trek even from northern England. But Knoydart was the one that I never did. In my rucksack I've got 3 days worth of food, hopefully, and I've got all my lightweight camping gear, and we're going to have 2 nights wild camping, and probably the last night either in a campsite or somewhere closer to civilization. Like that, the rain seems to have stopped, which is great. Now I'm worried I'm in the mercy of Scotland's worst ever carnivore, which is the infamous midge. They seem to be tracking me already, so I may have to deploy my secret weapon soon. Got fed up with the insects, particularly clags. It's not so much the midges, it's those clags. I've already taken a bite to each hand. Wondered what the piercing feeling was. Looked down, there was a big insect taking a chunk out of me. So I've got my fashionable muzzy guard on. Starting to come to the top of the saddle, I think. Very interested to see what's on the other side, decide whether or not to camp, because there's a little flat bit there, but it seems too early to be settling down. I'll be bored in an hour. So I think I'll go up to follow these guys up to the top and then decide what I'm going to do when I'm up there. Please close the gate, I suppose. Got a cairn, so I think we got to the top of the first climb, and I think it's time now to start looking for somewhere to pitch a tent. Chili and rice. It looks like baby food. It tastes alright, but in the way baby food tastes alright. So it's a misty morning, which is a bit of a shame because I've got some stuff to dry out. I might have to improvise a little bit to avoid getting trench foot today. Hopefully we'll get some sunshine later and I can hang this stuff out and get it to dry. It always astonishes me with rivers, but when I came over the watershed last night it was nothing, and then where I camped just a few hundred yards away there was a tiny stream, and now I have to work out how to get across it just a couple of miles downstream from that. But all that water soaked up in the hillside, all trickling down. never ceases to impress me, amaze me, maybe even today frustrate me. Where am I going to cross? Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Into the deep dark wood, eh? Whoa. Deep dark fog. Tires, road paths. So this is Glenfinnan, if that's how you pronounce it. And this is sort of the big corner. I've been heading sort of north, slightly north-northeast until now. Now I turn west and head for Knoydart itself and Invery. Just over that way is a tarmac road, but I didn't see it. So I expect I'll see tarmac in Invery, but you know, I'm not going to see tarmac at all today. Nothing between Glenfinnan Lodge and Invery. Leave nothing but footprints, eh? Right, it's lunch. Wraps and John West jacket toppers. Bags for the misty mountains where the spirits run free over the hills and far away. I've come across this really mysterious looking lake. Strange shapes in it. This is a fairly hard old track. You know, I was thinking, oh, forest tracks, gravel drives before. You know, it's too easy. But this bit has been really tough. This, what I'm going now is a bit easier, but it's been a lot of up and down, clambering up and down drops that are just a bit hard to step. And when you've got the rucksack on, well, I'm finding anyway, it's really taken it out of me. I'm really starting to feel quite tired now. Oh dear, I think that moment where I didn't take a turn is back there a bit. I think I've got to go back up and down the other side of the river. I reckon I don't have to go all the way up. I think I can get across here. And then I don't have to add loads onto my distance, because I really don't want that. There. Sometimes just find those moments with all this weight on my back just a bit too wobbly. Oh, lots of frogs. 2 frogs. That's about 10 frogs I've seen today. And this little thing here is the path. The path. Not any path, the path. Oh dear. I think this is the path. Better be, no. The other side of the river again, because there's no way past these cliffs on that side. So I've had to cross again. At some point I've got to go over there. and I don't understand where, when, or else when the path crossed it went up over the top of this, which is a possibility. So I'm going to go along here. I'm going to get the map out again. Cross the river 4 times. 4 times? 5 times? Only want to cross it once, really. I think I need to go up this slope, and I should find the proper path. Should be up there. If I'd crossed where I should have crossed, I would have been all right. Okay, I found the path, the proper path, not the paths made by the people who got lost before I got lost. The other great news is that's where we're headed for the night. And you never know, it might even cheer up a bit weather-wise. Oh, this descent has gone on forever. It's been really hard on the thighs and knees, and at last I can see the end through the trees. Some of the descending on this walk's been as tough as the climbing, or even tougher. It's only been a few miles today where I've actually been able to walk with any rhythm and pattern, and that was on Glenfinnan, or whatever you call it. And I'm hoping once I get over this, it rises up again, but I'm hoping it's smoother, because my legs, oh my legs, oh dear. First man-made object I've seen in a long time. Oh. So, I've arrived at the head of Loch Nevis, which is where I'm going to be staying for the night. And I do think I've got like the best pitch. I thought there'd already be a row of tents here, to be honest, because it's such a gorgeous spot. And it could completely, uninhabited around here. The only other building I've seen has been the bothy, and it's closed. So it'll be interesting to see if people come along, because this is a beautiful campsite, absolutely beautiful. Feels a bit naughty, wild camping, just deciding, all right, here's a patch camp, but shows how sort of institutionalized we are into, you shall go to a campsite and you shall camp. And it's just fantastic here in Scotland that you can go, right, nobody here, nobody lives for miles around, not bothering anybody. I'll pitch up tent, stay for the night, and be off in the morning. I sometimes say that camping is sort of the art of keeping things dry, and I feel miserably at it on this trip already. Just 2 days in, I've managed to get 4 pairs of wet socks. Really don't know how I've managed to do that. Right, tonight I'm trying the add boiling water, dried rations, see how they go. Big advantage already is the pre-prepared, just heat up ones last night. It says it's a main meal, but I didn't feel it really was enough. There's about 360 calories in there, and it weighs 300 grams. This, in its dried form, weighs less than half of that, but gives you 550 calories. So 200 more calories for half the weight. Not sure if you can see here, but I've woken up to a herd of deer near the tent. You seem pretty relaxed about me being here, getting up and starting to fuss about. Mozzies are bad this morning for whatever reason. I think it's because there's no breeze. So I've got the comedy hat on again. But got to make some breakfast, and then it's time to head towards Inverie and actually start into Knoydart, because I haven't actually been in Knoydart yet, but we will talk about that later. I'm pretty sad to be leaving this place, because it's a glorious place to camp, waking up with the deer outside the tent, grazing away contentedly, and the bay, and the sound of the birds, seabirds, as well as the more terrestrial ones. The only problem with the campsite, is probably why nobody else camped there, is no fresh water. Last night I had to do a half-hour round trip to find a stream, so I'm taking my my washing up with me, and I'll have to do that en route. So if I've got this right, once I cross this bridge, I will be officially on the Knoydart Peninsula at last. It's only been 21 miles over 1 and a bit days of walking to even get onto the peninsula, and now this morning I've got to walk across it to Inverie. I think I'm almost at the top of this. It's taken me 2 hours, over 2 hours to walk less than 3 miles so far. But that includes doing the dishes. I think that's Inverie down by the water. That's the final destination. And fingers crossed, it looks like quite a nice, relaxed path down, which my blistered old feet is going to be very welcome. Met a guy about a kilometre back up the trail there who gave me some good news and bad news. Good news is there's a campsite in Inverie and you don't have to wander off into the wilds again, because my feet are killing me. Bad news is the pub's shut. That is slightly mollified by the fact that the shop next to the pub sells really good beer. It's all very pretty down here now. Campsite. That's kind of the end of the walk. I was going to walk to the pier, but the campsite was first, and I'm exhausted. My feet hurt. I've only walked 9 and a bit miles today, and it's taken me well over 5 hours. And the campsite is also the heliport for shifting stuff up to the top of this mountain. I don't know if you can hear me over that, but I'm trying to decide whether to put the tent up, make lunch, or just lie here for a bit. Just lying here for a bit, running out just there. The pub may be shut, but they're still selling Knoydart beer. It'd be rude not to give it a go, really. But I think after all I've done over the last couple of days, I deserve this one. So I'm coming to the end of my trip to Knoydart. I've struck camp, that lovely little community campsite, and I'm headed towards the ferry. And it's been wonderful. And what a wonderful place Knoydart is. Is it the last wilderness? Well, not at all. You know, this land has been sculpted by sheep farming and forestry in particular. And the amazing thing is there used to be over 1,000, some people say 2,000 people living on this peninsula. Today it's 110, and so in the past it has been much more inhabited, much more worked, much more industrialised. Of course, what happened to those people is largely the highland clearances. You know, in one day alone, on the pier I'm heading to, or where the old pier was, the 332 people set sail from here for the new world, basically turfed out. and the people who stayed behind soon found their houses burnt down. Absolutely appalling piece of British history. In 1999, there was a community buyout of the various owners of the estate, and really what they've done since has been amazing, and it's got a real sort of complete community vibe. You know, you keep coming across sculptures and games and things carved out of wood, and there's the community campsite, community bunkhouse, community room with Wi-Fi, and it's all with a sort of very eco-friendly community-led vibe, and more power to their elbow. I came in the hard way. 2 days tough walking, and I found that tough. 3 big climbs, but I'm taking the easy way out, the ferry. But the trip's not over, because the ferry trip I'm looking forward to, and then I've got the West Highland Railway, which is gorgeous, so I'm really looking forward to that.